Hello, and welcome to the Peaceful Empowerment Work Show. We are live on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I am your co-host, Judy Forder, and I am here with my co-host in peace, Miss
Kris Burke. Hi,
Kris.
everybody. Hi,
Today's
Judy.
topic, hello. Today's topic, facing life transitions without overwhelm.
Mm.
And I have to tell you that it gave me pause because I was thinking, really, without overwhelm at all or with less overwhelm? So we will see today, won't we, Kris?
We will see. I think I'll start out by saying that I've been a master of transition in my life. It's kind of my thing when my life wasn't working, various aspects of it. I wasn't afraid to throw pieces of it up into the air and see where it landed. It was just kind of always part of me. And, things blew up on me a lot of times because, sometimes things fall into place on their own really nicely. And sometimes if you don't understand how you're participating in your life experience, it can get worse before it gets better. Right. So this is a process actually that we develop from, a lot of learning the hard way and then finding out, well, what if we were more, I used to just fling things into the air, and that's where we can get into trouble. And so this is a process where you can really step by step consciously choose, where am I going? What are my values? What do I prioritize? How will I know when different people and circumstances arise in my life, whether that's for me or not for me? How can I be in the driver's seat instead of just, that old saying, like jump off the cliff and your wings will open on the way down? Yeah, I crashed a lot. So I think it's important that we really understand our role in that safe landing. And so today we want to help people to be prepared so that, you're not hoping, that you have more than hoping on your side.
Yeah, and it's funny. I could picture you crashing and tumbling down, uh, as I have done as well. And you know, you can look back and say all those crashes were very important lessons learned.
Mhm.
But I have also learned, and not but, I have also learned that you don't have to crash in order to learn the lesson.
Yes. 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 That is so true. We don't have to prove anything to ourselves or to anybody else about how, brave we are, or how committed we are to a better life. We don't have to take the hard road. We really can take the gentle, loving, kind road.
Yes. And we want to make sure we say that, facing life transitions, some people can automatically take that and think of hard, difficult, what we would say bad things, bad transitions that have been thrown upon us.
Right.
But we're talking good transitions can be overwhelming as well.
Yeah.
And I have a daughter that's going off to college, and it's a great thing. She's a great kid, but I'm beginning, as the summer moves on, I'm beginning to feel that angst and a little bit of anxiety that's attached to it. I know she's going to do great things, but this is a life transition for her and me.
That's right.
And I'm starting to feel it within myself. Before I could project it and be like, oh, and talk about her and worry about her, or, build her up and all those things. But now it's like hitting me like, holy Moses, I'm the
Yeah,
her every day.
absolutely. And,
So good thing there's almost a grieving process that we go through because of us saying goodbye to one chapter when we're starting a new one.
absolutely, we do. And we've talked about that a little bit recently, how parenting, like let's talk about when you become a new mother, right? That's, life changing, right? I mean, just every aspect of your life changes when you bring a child into the world. And it's beautiful and wonderful and, shifts your perspective on so many things. And all of those wonderful things come. And the truth is that who you used to be, might be hard to connect with at that point because who has the time or the energy on some level? And so, Judy and I have talked about even being able to say out loud to one another, there are parts of that that are really hard, and not to feel guilty about that, just because a transition might be beautiful. You're moving into your dream house, you're having children, you're getting married, you're starting school, you're starting a new career, whatever those things are, retiring. Like all of those things can be wonderful. That doesn't mean that you won't feel some sense of loss, because the person you were in the world has changed.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all beautiful. It's all
Hmm.
beautiful
Hmm.
because transitions mean new beginnings.
Yeah.
And when we have new beginnings, it's I've begun to think of it as a clear slate almost,
Yeah.
where we have the opportunity to um, move forward and really start to take on the responsibility of building what unfolds before us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and that's important. The building part, like consciously building.
Hmm.
So I know a lot of my younger year transitions, I kept thinking that I was kind of the same person and my life was changing. But we change with our lives. And if we don't change with our lives, if we don't consciously kind of go with the flow, or learn to adapt to the changes that are happening, we can start trying to resist what's happening. And that can create a lot of tension and stress.
Yes. We have a very dear friend and coworker at Masterful U that absolutely would declare on a regular basis, "I hate change."
Yeah.
So, since the beginning of the year, she's been working to embrace change, and boy, has her life unfolded
Yes.
in amazing, beautiful ways because she has begun to change that mindset and really do her best. She's been working hard to open up and embrace the change that has been coming her way.
Right, exactly. And Judy, I'm going to let you introduce the topic that you're going to be working through the process today. And I'm going to go get my dog who's going crazy, so that we don't have to hear her. I shall return.
Okay, great. I didn't know I'd be doing a solo for a minute, but today we've been introducing the map to you all and referring to it every week. Now, this week, Kris is going to take me through the process of using the map as a tool to help me work through the overwhelm that I am feeling with my daughter going off to school. We have her graduation party this weekend, and I woke up not in a panic, but definitely I woke up in the middle of going through a checklist to see if I had everything that I need, if I've ordered everything that I need for the party. And then that rolled over into, oh my gosh, have we ordered everything that she's going to need for her dorm room? So that overwhelm is very forward and present today.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So we're going to invite everybody to go through this process with us. So if you have some area of your life that's not working for you, that's not delivering the experience that you would like, it might be something going on with your body, your health, relationships, maybe your career or your purpose, your finances, or your home where you rest your head at night. Um, or your daily routine. Maybe it's just overwhelming being you right now in some area of your life. You could select that area and then go ahead to our website, masterfulu.com, masterfulu.com, and then slash get your map with dashes in between. Get dash your dash map. That will bring you to the page where you can actually download this map. And you can kind of travel along with us. So when we're referring to the zones, you'll know what we're talking about because we know them pretty well. So we don't have to look at the map anymore to do that. And there's also a button on the homepage that just says get your map. So fantastic. All right. So, Judy, on a scale of 1 to 10, right now we're going to kind of overlay the 4 zones, and we're going to say that zone 4 is, 7 to 10 on the range,
Hmm.
and zone 1 is 1 to 3, right? So 4 to 6. Um, did I do it wrong?
I think you meant zone 3, not zone 4.
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
it's zone 3.
Yeah. So, and 10 is zone 4.
Yeah.
Actually. So it's 1 to 3, and it's 3, 6, 9, 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of the zones. So 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, and then zone 4 is 10.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So in each of those numbers, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your level of um, peace? With 0 being there's no peace. This is total stress, right? And 10 being, oh, I'm totally at one with what is.
I think it's been fluctuating, but the most consistent I'm feeling right now is like a 4.5 to a 5. I'm right in there with the fear, anxiety, because now it's like, oh my gosh, have I missed anything? I'm going through lists in my head. I'm going through lists on my phone. So I'm in that zone 2 where I'm just kind of circling.
Okay. Okay. Good. Um, so the second thing that we're going to do is talk about what you're really get clear on what experience you're having right now. And so Judy's going to describe to us what she's currently thinking, feeling, and doing while she's at that 4.5 number. Energetically, she's at a 4.5. So if you're playing along at home, you could write down where are you? If 10 is total peace of mind, and 0 is in 1 or despair, then where are you in that zone? And then you could go ahead and write down what it is that you're thinking and feeling and doing now. So we're going to document where we are, right? Because a lot of times when we're going through experiences, we find ourselves just kind of reacting to what comes up without a real sense of where we started or where we're going. And so it's hard to know if we're on track or not in the day to day, right? Um, so, Judy, what would you say you're thinking, feeling, and doing now?
Um, I think I'm going to miss something. Uh, I feel anxiety and fear that I'm going to miss something. And I do make lists and check them twice, just like Santa.
Excellent. Okay. And so that overall experience is, how would you describe it?
Nerve-wracking and annoying.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And maybe anxiety.
Yeah, anxiety.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And
Um,
I'm annoyed at the fact that I feel anxious.
Yeah, because I was going to say, actually, you're annoyed because you know
Mhm.
enough about the process to know, I know this is inside of me somewhere, and I'm right, and this
Yep.
conflict is coming up inside of me. So that's maybe where the annoyance comes from. But
Mhm.
the underlying, it sounds like, yeah, there's some anxiety there.
Yes.
And what does it say about you as a mom? Like, this is the end of your motherhood, like day to day
Mhm.
motherhood role. Not that we ever stopped being mothers, but this is the end of that phase. And we all had ideas in our minds about what that was going to be like and how we were going to be. And so, now there is a little bit of um, closing that down, right? The
Mhm.
idea of what could be is now more the idea of what was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and we all might end up and look at all these, there might be some shame. I mean, how many have you ever yelled at your daughter?
Oh,
And
never.
yeah, yeah. And then afterwards been like, wow, I was just not like, that was not me. I mean,
Yeah.
that was not my best self, was not
Mhm.
forward. Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
And there could be, guilt. We're blaming ourselves. Oh, I wasn't able to do this, or I wasn't able to provide that, or whatever those things are.
I didn't
Um,
prepare her well enough.
I didn't.
I
Yeah,
didn't prepare her well enough. She's not worldly enough. She's not,
exactly.
but she's plenty enough.
Yeah, she absolutely is. And that's the interesting thing is that you know all of that. We know that our kids are perfectly capable, full individuals with all of the resources that they need, and life is going to be teaching them what they need to learn as they go along. And we're here to guide and support. So that's fantastic. And when we get into a zone one, zone two experience, it's like we can't get in touch with that knowing.
Mm-mm.
It just seems to fade away. And all of a sudden, the sky is falling. We're doing the Chicken Little dance, and we're sure it's all our fault. Right?
Absolutely. Convinced of
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Yes. So, parents, pat yourselves on the back just for being vertical. Right? I mean, it's impressive in this world that we're still upright.
Yes.
Um,
The funny thing is we've talked about beliefs in here in our podcast quite a bit. And from the day that child was born, we joked that we didn't have a college fund for her. We had a therapy fund
yes.
because we didn't screw her up too bad and therapy could fix her.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, funny. I have similar memories. So, okay. So we know the experience you're having right now, not pleasant.
No.
No. So talk to me about the experience. So you imagine, where would you like to be on this scale?
Oh, I'd love to be in zone 4
Mm,
where, I am completely at peace with everything that's going on. Uh, and yes, I'm in complete understanding that this chapter is ending and it's a beautiful, gentle ending, and I can float into the next chapter of my life. And yeah, that would be lovely. But
yeah,
when I'm talking about real, I'd love to be in zone 3 where
excellent.
I can just allow myself to celebrate all of it. All of it.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, that's so important to everybody. We talk about this a lot in the workshops and classes that sure, everybody wants to be a 10. I mean, lovely to be a 10. But the reality is it takes practice to move from one zone, whatever your typical day-to-day zone is, whatever you learned in early childhood and have been practicing for a long time, it takes time to move a zone. So if you've been in zone one, which I was for most of my life, and then you move to zone two, that takes practice. And by the way, that's a big win,
Mhm.
right? I mean, that's progress. That the life feels better, it looks better, you're functioning better. Then to get to zone three is an even bigger step from there, right? And so each step of progress, if you're currently in zone one or two, which most people are most of the time, it's just the way our society happens to function, then setting your sights on zone three is a beautiful thing. And if we set our sights on zone four, which it might be just too much of a stretch, and we might end up being disappointed. So, in being kind to ourselves, let's give ourselves, say, I'm going to move one zone and then celebrate that. And moving to the next one will be that much easier. Yeah,
Yes.
fantastic. All right. So you're in zone three, which is a beautiful place to go. Um, Talk to us about, and here, everybody, is where you're going to set very clearly for yourself what your experience is going to be like in zone three. And you're going to do it just like you did for where you are starting. You're going to do it in terms of, I think, I feel, I do. So, Judy, when you're in zone three and Maddie's out of the house and you're in this new chapter, what are you going to be thinking and feeling and doing in this higher energy vibration?
Um, what am I going to be thinking in zone 3? I'm going to be that we did good.
Mm,
We did good. That she's prepared to take this step forward. Um, this next closer step to full independence,
mhm.
and a lot of joy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be feeling a little bit of freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom without guilt for
Yeah.
feeling happy for feeling the freedom.
Yes. And freedom of choice. So this just popped up for me. The freedom to know that you can reach out to your daughter anytime you like within a million different ways and keep that connection, the connection different and yet strong and beautiful.
Yeah, it's very different than when I went to college, with the dinosaurs.
Now,
I've
wait a
already
minute.
I've already told her for the first couple weeks at least she's gonna have to send me an emoji or something daily just to proof of life.
Yes.
That will give me peace of mind.
Yes. Yes.
She's like, Mom, am I gonna have to do that forever? No. Just the first couple weeks, I promise.
Yes. Absolutely. And being honest, right? So this is another big thing about moving into zone 3. We have to tell the truth about how we're feeling, first to ourselves, right? And then to the other people in our lives. So if we talk about the fact that we're feeling loss, that we're feeling a sense of, wow, this whole chapter is over and it was a really significant chapter and there were amazing things and there were some hard things, right? And as we kind of process through all of that, there's going to be a sense of loss. And then in that transition, we can also talk about, and what do I want this new chapter to be? So we're planting the seeds for the new chapter in terms of the new, right? So not in contrast, we don't have to necessarily say, when our kids were children, we did this. And so now we're going to do something different. It can just be, this is a new phase. What do I want that new phase to look like? As Judy said before, clean slate.
Yeah.
What thoughts are going to be going through your head? What feelings are you going to have? And what kinds of things are you going to do? And are they things that light you up? Because frankly, in zone 3, that energy level, 7, 8, 9, I got it straight now. 7, 8, 9 energy, that's good energy. You feel good. You're joyful. You don't feel limited, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that I won't feel some sadness because she's gone and that void. I can be in zone 3 and still feel those what we would call, zone 1 emotions, but with a deeper understanding and a grace.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's interesting how if you're feeling grief, for example, and you're engaged in this process that we're doing, just the conversation, the awareness, and you're engaged in grief, then you can say, yeah, I'm experiencing grief, and I'm okay with that.
Mhm. Yeah. When we allow the emotions to flow, that's when we can stay in that higher frequency, that higher zone,
Right.
because of the awareness that we have.
Right.
So yes, I'm sure I will be feeling those things in zone 3 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then, yeah, sure. It's break time.
Oh,
So,
all right. We'll be right back and we'll talk about what I will feel and do when I am in zone 3.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory. And you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business show showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact GoingSoloDirectory.com.
Welcome back to the Peaceful Empowerment Work Show. We are live on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Today's topic, facing life transitions without overwhelm. We are working the process of taking you through the map to use it as a tool to help you move through your overwhelm. And we were in the middle of our discussion about moving into zone 3 and what that would feel like. Oh, we have a comment from Janice. Judy, thanks for sharing your story. It helps to make the process clear. Good luck. Thank you, Janice. I need all the luck I can get. No. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah,
So before
absolutely.
we left, we were talking about what I would think in zone 3. And now we're moving on to what I will feel when I'm in zone 3, dealing with the transition of my daughter going off to college.
Mm.
And in zone 3, I expect to feel peace and acceptance that it is perfect time for her to go and spread her wings.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a perfect time for me to move forward and spread my wings as well.
Yeah.
Yes. And like we said before the break, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to have feelings of grief and feelings of sadness because I miss her. But I will have those feelings from a different awareness. I will let them flow and not get stuck in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people, this could be belaboring it a little bit, but a lot of people, if you identify yourself as a parent, which when we're parents, that's a huge part of our lives. If we identify ourselves solely as being a parent and we go into the empty nester stage, that can be really traumatic because we can get the sense that our usefulness or our purpose is done, as opposed to our purpose is changing or shifting, right? So it's so important to understand that when we go through these life transitions, things are going away, but brand new possibilities are being offered. And if we can participate really consciously, remain present for this process, just like Judy's doing, that actually a whole new chapter can roll out that could have even a richer relationship with the daughter, just redefined, and all kinds of other branches on the tree as well. Yeah.
Yes, and that feels very good, Kris. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that, but it's really good to hear.
Yeah, I think sometimes we need reassurance because there's that feeling of, it is a feeling of loss. It's a feeling of wanting to hold on. And if we can realize that, well, here's an opportunity to reframe the entire relationship however we like. And now that your children are, adults or entering adulthood, it can be more of a mutual discussion about what do we want this to be like.
Yeah, and that's interesting. As you're saying that, my mother died, yes, I was 26, but I feel like we were just on the beginnings of our relationship transitioning before she got sick.
Yeah.
To what that adult child parent interaction would look like and what that relationship would look like. So I don't have anything personally that I've lived as an example.
Right.
Yes, I have friends that have their mothers that are still alive and things like that, but I don't have an experience of my own to base that on. So to have a conversation with Maddie and say, what do you want that to look like? I think is just mind blowing. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And yeah, this is that process where in partnership, I mean, Judy and I talk about this in terms of the show, in terms of, Masterful U and Peaceful Empowerment Works and the whole bit. We talk about what is it that you want and need from this and sort of bigger picture. What do you want and need on a weekly basis or a daily basis? So that same communication we can take into our family relationships, into any relationship really. And as long as we're honest with one another and free to change our minds without repercussions.
That's a big one.
It is a big one because I mean, I know for me, when something's not working for me, like I said, I'm comfortable with transition. So when something's not working for me, I'm pretty quick to say, yeah, this isn't working. I'm going to try something else. And for a lot of people, not Judy actually, but for a lot of people that I've interacted with and worked with over the years, that can just, that's just, it can send them under an avalanche of emotion that takes months to come out from under. And it took me a long time to kind of understand, oh, that's because I'm saying this. So they're building this whole framework around this statement that I made. And then when I say, oh no, actually, I think we'll do something else, they're like, but what do I do now? Right. So it's important to set those ground rules up front. So you and Maddie can even talk about how do you, what is the way that you want to talk about your wants and needs, and how is there some way you'd like to do that? Would you like to once a quarter get together? Maybe this sounds silly, but it can be such a good start if that foundation isn't laid in exactly that way yet. Just to very intentionally say once a quarter, let's get together and have a girl day at the spa, and we'll talk about what's working super well, and we'll talk about what we'd like to maybe expand or grow.
Yes. And we have another comment from Shannon. She was with us last week too. Hi, Shannon. I am also using this in my relationship, the one that brings me terrible fear and anxiety.
Ah,
Mm.
wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
It is, very much so.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, and in our relationships, I'm kind of, internally going, is this a good time to say this? And I guess I'm getting a yes. But as we're going through this process, what this process helps us to do is get really clear with ourselves, right? So that we can then communicate clearly with other people without the frustration, the anxiety, the heaviness coming through too. Because once we get clear, our frustration kind of clears out of the way. And it becomes easier to say, oh, I understand now. I really need this. Right. Whereas if I'm not clear with myself and I haven't gone through this process, I might yell at somebody, I freaking need this. And you never give it to me. And, it can turn into a zone 1 experience, battleground experience, simply because it doesn't come out. We can't speak our truth until all of a sudden it comes blasting out of us because we've been trying to hold it back.
Yes. And when you
yeah.
blast like that, I heard that's when your victim comes forward, and people don't respond well to victim.
Yeah, no, we don't. So really good to get clear with ourselves and then be able to say unemotionally, very clearly, without apology, like, I've discovered this is what matters to me. I really need to have this. And these are things I like, right? So there's this progression of like, these are things I really need. These are things that I like. These are things that I aspire to. When you have that clear inside of yourself, you can communicate that. And then other people can have the opportunity to do that thinking for themselves and decide whether or not they can meet you or even want to meet you, where your needs, wants, and desires line up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, if it's your daughter, they don't have a choice. Ha. No, I'm kidding. I have a daughter and she has lots of choice. She also appreciates my sense of humor. Thank God. Um, yeah. So let's talk about what's getting in the way. So is everyone hopefully clear about, yeah.
I'm
go
out.
ahead. Yeah.
You skip do. In zone 3,
Oh,
I do. I
ah,
will celebrate and I will keep lines of communication open,
mm.
being sure that I speak truth from that place of love.
Yay. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. So
Okay.
now that's clear, right? So you've got this idea of here I am right now. This is what I'm thinking and feeling and doing. And that's okay. It's natural, right? It's exactly where um, you should be at this time. How do we know you should be there? Because you are, right? And
Mhm.
then you've got this really clear idea of where you're going. So now everything that happens is just your journey from where you're feeling a little uncomfortable to where you're going to feel really peaceful and empowered. That's important for everybody to know. Like once you make this definition and kind of set this journey, I know where I'm going, and I'm at peace with the fact that I'm here right now. Couldn't be otherwise.
Mhm.
Then you start this process of development, and everything is just a stepping stone. It doesn't have to be good or bad. It's just part of the process, right? But some
Mhm.
things get in our way, don't they, Judy?
Yes, yes, they do. And it's
Yes, they do.
always
Yeah, our accumulated, let's call them ouchies because it's such a nicer way of saying it. But our
Mhm.
accumulated past ouchies can get in the way of us making steady progress. So we can be holding on to some pain that's at that lower end of the spectrum, in those lower zones. We can be holding on to some pain that we think will protect us, subconsciously, of course. And
Mhm.
so it's important to bring that up to the conscious and decide, do we still think this is about protection? And if it is, you can keep it. It would be silly to get rid of it if you think it's still part of your protection system. But if you see, like, yeah, that probably seemed like a good idea when I was 3, but not so much now, you can also let that go and appreciate the 3-year-old who put all the effort into coming up with that for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we have Shannon who said, that's a really good point. It is a journey. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely a journey. Thank you, Shannon. So, Judy, let's ask, in this journey, if we had a magic wand that we could just and all of a sudden we're in the new experience, that would be lovely. It would
Yes.
take some of the richness of learning out of life, of course. Um, but you're not in that. That's not your experience yet. Your experience is what it is. So let's ask, what's getting in the way? And Judy's like, she's going to do it like this. When you're doing it at home, you're going to need to close your eyes and take a couple of minutes. Just, do some breathing and just take a couple of minutes and ask yourself, what's getting in the way of this higher experience that I imagine?
The interesting thing is it's not like we practiced for the show. So all this is just coming, and it's probably not new for Kris. She probably knew already. But what came up honestly is when I went away to college is when my mother got sick and everything shifted. So I think there's an underlying fear within me, and it shifted from me being her daughter to when I was home, it was a caretaking type
Mhm.
thing. And I know that she was not comfortable with that at all.
Yeah.
That was not what she wanted. And yeah, it's funny that that's coming up because I didn't even realize it was there until right now. We are live, folks. Real.
Yay. Yay, Judy, you're so brave, and so insightful and self-aware. Um, Yeah. So it was when you were leaving for college or while you were there?
While I was in college,
Okay.
I got a phone call that she was having emergency surgery
Okay.
and she might not make it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
everything changed.
Okay. And so you see how the everything changed, that energy is connected to going to college. When a daughter goes to college, everything changes. And if that's connected to mom dies,
Hmm.
um, how could you not feel all of the things that you're feeling right now? The anxiety, right? Something bad is going to happen because that's what anxiety is.
Hmm.
Something bad is about to happen. I can feel it, right? And we're not sure what the bad is, so our minds are frantically looking around for what's the problem? What is it that I'm so upset about? And usually in this process, not usually, always in this process, when we dig around a little deeper, we find out, oh, there was something real that was causing this anxiety, but it's not actually happening now.
Yes, and I'm going to tack on to this because I used to go to my grandmother's house every Sunday and clean for her.
Mm.
And I would always call ahead of time and she would answer the phone. She lived alone. And the older she got, the more I would worry about finding her in a position that was not good.
Mhm.
And I can remember driving there one Sunday and I was singing Gloria Estefan coming out of the light because I felt like I had gotten all my shit together and I was headed a period of transition. And I
Woohoo!
walked the door and my grandmother was on the steps.
Oh,
She had fallen down the steps in the middle of the night. So it's like I'm thinking about transition and boom, it was like that one. Anytime you're happy about a transition, wham! Life
yeah.
slams you in the face, Judy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just another imprint of a transition that happened. I've had plenty of happy transitions too. I would assume I can't think of them right now, but these are the ones that have come up because Kris asked.
Yeah, and interesting, it's so important that you said that because it's the painful ones that we remember because the subconscious holds on to them thinking it's going to be able to use the information in that painful memory to avoid a recurrence, to avoid more pain, right? So when something brilliantly wonderful happens, the subconscious is like, yeah, nice. Because its job is protection. It's in the protection business. And so when
Mhm.
something joyful happens, it's not like, oh, I better get all this down, and pay attention to what happened. It's flowing through it. But when something terrible happens, your subconscious is, well, let's hold on to this and make a story out of it. And it does. And it's trying to make sure that you never again have that experience. But if you don't know that, you don't realize that this pretty powerful force is steering the direction of your experience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much mind blowing there.
Yeah. And when you're in zone 1 or 2, you can only have memories that are zone 1 or 2 energy. You're not going to remember the brilliant times when you're in zone 1 because those brilliant memories that they're there, they're just stored differently. Um, those memories aren't in resonance with where you are energetically or experientially right now. That's why when we're depressed, it's hard to get out of it because we keep having depressing thoughts
Yeah.
because they are what's aligned with where we are right now.
Yeah. We get locked in that energetic loop. Now
Mhm.
we are out of time, but if you would like to dive into this experience a little more, you can join us for our next workshop,
Mhm.
which is Monday, August 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to register for that, you can go to www.masterfulu.com, masterfulu.com.
Yes.
And again, there's thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
And there's 3 different ways that you can access the information here that we share. There are 3 levels of engagement, we like to call them. And it is, of course, watching our show weekly. We have the workshops, and then we have a 12-week Own Your Experience program as well.
Yes, we do. And I just want to leave people with one final thing. If you've set where you're going, when things come up to you, notice how you respond to them and ask yourself, is this in alignment with where I'm going? And all you have to be able to say is, yes, this is for me, or no, this is not for me. Let me go find out what's getting in the way. That's the process.
Perfect. And when you're in that place of peace, peaceful empowerment works.
Yeah, it does. That was good. Mic drop. Boom.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Kris.